Hi everyone, happy blessed Wednesday. Yes, this is another naked talk show with Dr. Auda, and today's guests are two famous podcasters that I call my dear friends. So this is going to be an interesting kind of a dynamic. They're a very powerful couple and very interesting, and we're going to call them Chicken and Dragon because that's the name of their podcast. And I can't wait to have them on because it's been a while since I've seen them. And so if you like them, if you know them, please like, share, let us know where you're watching from. Oh, there they are. So we're going to bring them on the camera. And we're going to keep having this option. Forgive me a bit, I have a little bit of a cold, but this should be fun, please. Hi, guys. You were supposed to be naked.
It's so funny that we thought about coming naked, but we just thought that was inappropriate.
Inappropriate. What is that? All right, guys. Hello. Can everybody hear us? Because I hear an echo. Is everybody?
We can hear you, but that's the Facebook Live thing, so you just tell each other to stop speaking.
Okay, I'm gonna take a my earphones. I think Facebook doesn't let me live. There's a horrible echo. This happened to me last Friday. Is this happening to you guys?
So how are you? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to see you. My chicken and dragon. Oh. I love it. I love those hats, girl. I love it. You guys have some fashion sense. I need to get plugged in into those Converse.
Dragon was the one that got me into the hats, and I love it.
Oh, and I see where you guys are. God, let me.
Awesome. So it's so good to see you. I think we saw you like many months ago when we went for dinner together. That was the first time that I met you.
I know. This was in September, right?
Yeah, that was in September. I was like, I'm so glad that this is Dragon's best friend.
Yes, that is. I'm so glad my best friend found somebody like you. I was a little hope, I was losing hope, but then he found you, and the world became better. Do you hear the echo? If you guys are listening, and if you can hear us, please let us know. Thumbs up, give us some feedback, please, so we know. And this conversation is gonna get wonderful, and I want to make sure that everybody can hear us okay. So give us thumbs up. Let us know where you're hearing from. If you know Chicken and Dragon, I want to know from where you know them. If you're plugged in onto their podcast, I also want to know. So definitely put it in the comments. It's echoing, so it is echoing. What the heck? What do we do?
We don't hear an echo at all.
Yeah, but the people hearing us is they're very echoey, and I heard my last live that I did on Friday was so bad. So people are saying there's big echo. What do we do?
Well, maybe we should just talk about echoes.
Okay. Let's just do that. Let's introduce this and let you guys talk because apparently it's only echo when I talk, and I don't want to talk.
You know what we could do is we could just do it as an audio file, and you can post it later if you want. If people, I don't know how miserable people are hearing this, but
Yeah. Well, we're going to introduce you guys, and you're going to talk because the echo is on my side, not on yours, and you and me know I don't need to be talking. So you guys, welcome to the Naked Talk Show with Dr. Auda, Chicken and Dragon. And for those people that are not so blessed like me to know you, would you please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about Chicken and Dragon? Why do you guys call yourselves that?
That's an interesting story, but my name is Chicken, and I am I think they were laughing at my name. Yes. Hello.
hey,
I have some friends. My name is Chicken. I am a clinical sexologist and a sex and relationship coach. And what do I even say about that? I think most people clutch their pearls when they hear that, or they love it and they're super excited. And that's what I do. Yeah.
And, there's a story behind how we met, but, my name is Dragon. My first name is Drag. And but no, I'm known as Dragon on the Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon show. And my story just quickly is I'm for the most part a recovering bullshit artist. I spent most of my life pretending to be cool and pretending to be successful, and I got away with it. A lot of people bought into it. I practiced as a chiropractor for a long time. I did a lot of humanitarian work. That's how I met the amazing naked queen here. But yeah, I've gone through quite a transformation in my life, and now I find myself in this position of helping thousands and thousands of people with physical and mental and financial transformations. So the Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon show, our podcast, came as a result of us meeting. So why don't you tell everybody how we met?
Yeah, so Dragon and I swiped right on each other on Bumble. And I thought that he was going to be, just another, a lot of people don't have a lot of success with online dating, but this was very different. Today is actually our phone anniversary.
Yeah, today is actually the day. It's ironic that we're doing this today, but today is actually the day that. Well, the story is that I saw her on not Facebook, on Bumble, and I just saw a picture of her. And in her profile, all it said was South African sex coach. So I swiped right. I said, I got to see what this is all about. And the next thing I knew, I was entangled in this whole thing about. Sorry. That's okay. Yeah. People love to talk.
We have some fans.
So those are just some of our fans walking
Some
into.
groupies.
Listen, not now.
Yes, no, please.
So in any case, we went through this kind of tug of war, with this particular app. I needed to wait for her to return to me, and I didn't get a return from her. So then what I did is I actually extended the account.
Can anybody say desperate?
I was desperate. I actually said, man, I don't want to let this one go. But I actually think that was part of her tactic, was to play hard to get.
No, I wanted to see who was serious. Like, if you extend, then I know you're serious.
Yeah, but you were like, you fell in love with me right away. You just played hard to get. So in any case, on this day a year ago, she replied, and we immediately had a phone call. And this is a very big part of, what gave rise to the Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon show, because we hit it off like that, and, I just from a relationship standpoint, because on our show we talk a lot about relationships, and we talk a lot about the things that people don't like to talk about in relationships, but they do want to know, like sex and intimacy and things like that, and also some of the things that they're involved in their bedrooms that they don't like to talk about. Don't worry, we'll talk about it for you. But what happened is we just had this phone call, and
It was like an hour and a half long.
maybe,
And it just went by like
I would say a week later, 2 weeks later, we lived together. And so it was a love at first sight thing, and she was always worried that it was a honeymoon phase thing, but here we are today, stronger than ever,
Yeah.
and that's how we met.
Now I want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say chicken and dragon, though, the names come from the apple and emoji.
That's it.
So we used to send each other messages as chicken and as dragon. And if I didn't get a message from dragon, I didn't care about JC all that much. I was like, where's
JC?
Exactly. I'm so sorry. You just gave it away. If I didn't get a message from Dragon that day, I was like, what's wrong? Like, where's Dragon? He's all I care about. And he had this little persona as Dragon, and I was the chicken.
It was kind of our first attempt at being kinky, I think.
Yeah, it's my first role play. An old chicken and, yeah, an Asian dragon, which was kind
Hey,
of
let me
cool.
ask you a question. Can you read my shirt? Oh, she's
Yes.
got to put Yes. So you know what's cool is this shirt is actually written backwards so that you can see it in real time on your, notice that. Little trick, little Facebook Live trick. So anyway, when we got together, obviously, chicken was, it was very interesting for me. I thought she was going to show up with leather chaps and a whip and handcuffs because she was a sex coach. But on the contrary, she was actually very, very proper. I mean, we have the same crazy sense of humor, so we got along. But she basically, on our first date,
I looked like
basically
a
said,
character from Downton Abbey. I had like a
that's right.
turtleneck dress. I was completely covered up, and I think he was very shocked by that. I kind of looked like a librarian, to be honest.
She basically told me on the first date, though, that I think she actually said, "You're not getting any of this." And that was the first time that I didn't mind because I like this girl. So yeah, we hit it up.
Wow, that's a great story. I didn't know that was your alter ego's chicken and dragon, and that's how it came about. It was the kinky name. I love it.
It's actually become who we are. We don't call each other anything but Chicken and Dragon. Everywhere we go, people call us Chicken and Dragon. They say, "Where's Chicken? Where's Dragon? Hey, Dragon. Hey, it's Chicken."
And it's funny when I go
There
to
goes Chicken.
when I go to some of his work events and I've never met anybody, they go, "Hi, Chicken, nice to meet you." And I go, "You do know that my parents gave me another name at birth. I'm not really Chicken." But yeah, we are known as Chicken and Dragon by everyone.
I almost believe that you did get that dragon tattoo.
That was a good. My mom was so angry. She was like,
Well, I met you guys and I saw the connection. I was like, listen, if she wants to put a tattoo of a dragon in her neck, so be it. God bless her,
yeah, that was a pretty good one.
So why don't you tell everybody, this is, I think, what's fascinating because it's a little bit on the shocking side and it's perfect for, this particular show. And I want to say something about, Auda and this whole Get Naked series because I saw it in its creative mode and, I think we even had a couple of talks about it before it was even a thing. And I know everybody out there would like to think that the show is about Auda getting naked. But she does, but in a different way. So I love we're very, very much from the school of just being transparent and completely shedding all the bullshit and just telling the truth. So why don't you share a little bit about, your background and your particular interests in your field?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you think about, I was just actually speaking to a doctor in sexuality about this. We were having this conversation today about, like, for instance, sex education in America. Like, how sex is just one of those things that it's just not spoken about. Everybody wants it, feels it, wants to experience it. But we don't talk about it, but we shy away from it, and it's always the first thing in a person's life that gets put to the wayside, even though it's such an important part of who we are. And so what we decided to do with this podcast, is to create awareness around sex, to make people see that it's normal to want to talk about it. There's something wrong with accepting that you're a sexual being.
We're not sure if you know this, but people have sex.
Yeah.
All the time. That's how we came about.
Yeah, true, exactly. If you think about it. So we just are completely transparent on our show. We have no idea who our listeners are because that's the joy of a podcast is you can't tell who's listening.
Well, we do have some idea because we get approached and we get reached out by very, very, many of them. But I can tell you that our listeners range from somebody that looks like Phil Collins and is locked in his basement with a straitjacket on, and
kinky.
Somebody that's from the Bible Belt that claims they do nothing wrong. We know about you too.
But yeah, so I think what people like about the podcast is the anonymity of it. So they can listen to all of these sexual concerns and, infidelity or whatever it is that we're talking
Polyamory,
about.
orgasm.
Pornography, like all these topics that we bring up, and they can listen to it without anybody knowing, and it makes them feel safe. And I think that that's a first step for us in creating awareness around sex education, educating people on sex, is to have them at least hear these things and then become more comfortable expressing it themselves. Because they see people who aren't, overtly sexually out there talking about sex in a normal way, and it gives them the permission to do the same thing. So that's the aim for me and for Dragon with the podcast, right?
Well, so my background is really in personal growth and self-discovery, and I've written a book, and it'll probably publish by the end of the year. And, the whole concept of what I've been fascinated with is human behavior. Everything about my life, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, is I'm always trying to make sense of things. I'm fascinated with everything. I've gotten to a place in my life with a lot of suffering where I realized that, everything's okay. I'm okay with anything, happy people, mean people, kinky people, vanilla people, whatever it is that people do, I'm fascinated with why they're doing it, So when I met her, it was fascinating for me because she was talking about concepts that I didn't understand, like BDSM or kink or polyamory or just some really, really potentially weird stuff, So because of where I was at in my life, I was just on a self-discovery journey, just being interested in everything. I got to a place in my life where if somebody came up to me and said, I don't like you very much, I would say, how can I improve myself for you, So when I met Chicken and we started to recognize where her interests were and where I was interested in, because what I was doing is every day for about 3.5, 4 years, I was doing this thing called a Rise Up, where I'd wake up every morning and for 5 to 15 minutes, I would just talk about what I wrote about and journaled, and it was catching fire. A lot of people were into it because it could give them a focus for the day. So Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon was a culmination of all this stuff. So on our show, it's very funny, and I will say that our next episode that's going to air on Monday with this guy that just wrote a book who became a self-made millionaire, it is awesome. But we have also interviewed people that are experts in polyamory and multiple partners.
BDSM, we had a BDSM master.
A master, this guy that tortures people. And
the real Christian Grey.
The real Christian Grey. But for me, I love hearing from these people and just trying to make sense of it. And you know what's interesting for all of us out there that have all of these agendas and concepts about what is right and wrong? If you really sit back and let people talk about what they do and why, it always makes sense.
Yeah.
It always makes sense why they do it.
Right.
So that's what our show is about.
Yeah, I feel like judgment comes from a place of not knowing, and as soon as we educate people on the different things, we really love each other. We can stop judging.
That's how gorillas show love to each other.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I feel we judge what we fear. The more we fear something, that's we judge it, we push it away because we just don't understand. So I love that you're opening that channel because so many people do it, so many people think it, so many people question it, and they just don't know what to do. And this is a safe place to realize that we're all humans, we're all experiments, and everybody's having sex. And as long as you understand it and you have your reasons why you're not hurting others or yourself, hey, more power to you.
And I'll tell you what's interesting is, obviously we keep everybody's anonymity, but we very, very frequently have people reach out to us, and they reach out to us for dating questions. They reach out to us, and she actually has a practice on the side, and people reach out to her with things like touch aversion. We're not touching, we love each other, we're not touching each other anymore. The fire's gone out. People reach out and say, I've never had an orgasm before, I don't even know what it is. Guys, performance anxiety, erectile dysfunction, all that stuff that everybody's pretending is not happening. People reach out to us, and she's more of an expert in that field, and we don't necessarily, take care of all these people. And sometimes, by the way, people come to us with real dire straits, and we make sure that they go to the right channel. But I think people are loving our show because it gives them this opportunity, completely concealed from everybody knowing, because people listen to us in their car, in the toilet, and everything. You know, it's a podcast, and they get to the point. What's this?
Now my hand looks so funny like this, and I'm sitting going.
And where are you guys heading to today?
We're going to Asia, actually. We're going to go to Hong Kong and Singapore, and we're actually going to do a live podcast there. We're going to go to, just visit all the sites. I'm going on this thing called the Health and Hope Tour. I'm going to be doing lectures all over Hong Kong and Asia. Don't really know what to expect from all of that, but we've got what's interesting is our following. It's interesting when we do a Facebook Live, because we never do that as Chicken and Dragon.
We used to, but not anymore.
In the podcast world, we have thousands and thousands of subscribers. So it's an interesting medium to come into Facebook Live. I'm curious, once people find out about this, who will show up. And I wonder if they won't, because they don't want us to know who they are.
Exactly. That's a very good point.
Yeah, they're hiding right now.
That is a good point.
But we're going to go to Asia, and what I can tell you, because you and I have known each other for a long time, this is the first woman in my life that when I go away, I don't get excited about getting away from her. I actually want to bring her with me everywhere. She wasn't actually coming to Asia.
No,
I forced her to.
Yeah, and I'm very drawn to Buddhism, so I'm very excited to see all the Buddhist statues in Asia, and obviously to be with my dragon. Like, I can't be without him. It's a nightmare, and it's stupid.
That's exciting. How long are you guys going to stay there?
Just for about 4 years.
We'll be back in 2025?
2020. Yeah. We've given up on the children and everything like that.
Just the two of us now.
Yeah. But Auda, we want to say that we watch all of your Get Naked series.
Love it.
Awesome what you're doing. I remember when you started this, I wondered if you would actually follow through with it. And a lot of really good content. We love it. And
Wow, that's a compliment.
When you're not having trouble with your Facebook Live and echoing, which has probably driven everybody crazy by now, we want to have you as a guest, so on our podcast, so all of our listeners can find out about you. But I would recommend that you don't show a picture of yourself to our listeners, because they'll be in trouble.
You're gonna have a lot of followers.
Gonna have
Some
quite a
kinky
few.
ones.
Well, I love the whole thing. When you guys told me about the idea, I thought it was magnificent. The moment I heard that you were a sexologist, I couldn't have been more happy about my best friend and about you guys and about the concept. I was like, I love it. I just love it. This is my cup of tea. So I love talking about sex too. I don't do it as much as we talk, but I'm writing the book now, and it's gonna get a little more graphic. And why not? It's my story, and I learn from it. So might as well bare my soul.
Get as graphic as you can, because the truth is that if somebody is confronted and asked what they think about it, they'll always go with the herd and they'll say, I don't like it, because they try to conform. But the truth is that that's what they need. It's not about being dirty and inappropriate. We say that our show is appropriately inappropriate, meaning we take the inappropriateness exactly where the listener needs it to go for them to actually feel something and learn something. Otherwise, if we don't do this, everybody's going to pretend that they don't need to know about these things, and they all do.
Yeah, and as a sexuality educator, I'm begging you to just dive right in there. Let's just talk about what needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I will do it. I'll send you the book before I publish it, just so you can. So you guys can give your opinion. But yeah, I guess I'm not asking for anybody's approval, because if I were, I probably wouldn't do it. But it's so lovely to see you guys and hear you, and I can't believe I had this echo. I don't know what's happening. This might be a lesson that I need to stop doing this Facebook Lives and Facebook.
Even though we're the only person listening to this show, I would want you to know that we enjoyed it too.
Yeah, same here. This has been, and too bad it's been even hard for me to hear you guys. That's why I keep getting close, because the echo is so bad. I can barely hear you. But we have to do this again.
if it's a complete mess and you realize that nobody can hear anything, we'll do it again.
For sure. Please safe travels. Check out ticket Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon, right?
We're gonna come visit you soon.
Oh, please come to the Keys, stay at the house. Let's go. You're welcome. Los quiero. Safe travels. Send me